Gotham TV Podcast, Episode 49, Gotham Season 2 Preview, and the set visit by Gotham Addicts.
Hey, this is Andrew Stewart-Jones. I play Christopher Allen on Gotham, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Victoria Cartagena. I play Renee Montoya on Gotham, and you're listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
How would Alfred deal with these two visitors to Gotham from Ireland?
Well, I mean, first of all, how did you get to the door? And secondly, I'd grasp you firmly by the elbow and I'd walk you very smartly to the gates, and I might even show you my commando knife. How's that?
You could set the dogs on us as well.
Yeah, well, no, I don't need dogs, mate.
Welcome back, Gothamites. Welcome back, detectives. This is the return of Gotham TV Podcast. This is our episode 49, where we're going to look at Gotham's Season 2 and the preview, all the little snippets that have been coming out over the course of the last 2 to 3 months from Fox and from San Diego Comic-Con and everything in between. And we'll also be looking at the set visit by Gotham Addicts, who are lucky enough to go on set of Gotham for and during the filming of Season 2, which was excellent. I am, as always, one of your hosts, John.
And I'm Derek, your other host. Welcome back, Gothamites. Really good to be back with you guys after a bit of a break for us during the summertime. We went off and did a few other podcasts at the time. John, you were talking about Hannibal on TV Podcast Industries, which is available on tvpodcastindustries.com. And we've been also talking about our other sister series, which is the Marvel series on Netflix, which included Daredevil and also Agent Carter. So while we haven't been on Gotham, we've been talking about tons of other TV shows.
Yeah, we came back briefly for a little snippet of the San Diego Comic-Con, a little preview of the Gotham panel that was held there, which was awesome, was interrupted rudely by someone who could or could not be the Joker.
That's right.
Jerome, yes. I think Jim had his work cut out to keep the peace there in that panel. But we're back and we're looking forward to the new season, Season 2 of Gotham. But remember, as always, for this forthcoming season and everything that we do around it on the Gotham TV Podcast, you can find us at www.gothamtvpodcast.com/iTunes. And you can also search Gotham TV Podcast on any good podcast catcher, such as Beyond Pod, Player FM, Podcast Addict, or Stitcher.
That's right, yeah. We'll have all of our episodes coming out each week, obviously. And if you want to send us any kind of feedback about the episodes as they come up or anything about the podcast, any questions that you have for us, please send them to feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com.
Yeah, any thoughts on this upcoming season of Gotham would be very welcome, of course. And we are active, as always, on Twitter, our Twitter handle being @GothamTVPodcast.
And finally, you can also find us on Facebook at Gotham TV Podcast. Just make sure you search for our group on there. Always some good discussions on there, and we usually post our news, that kind of stuff, up in that section of the site. So follow us on Facebook.
Yeah. Any social media handle you can think of, we may be there.
We are around, definitely. So, John, I think it's time to get into the news of Season 2 and a bit of a discussion about what's coming up.
Yeah, I think kicking off on these things, we definitely know that in the US, Season 2 is going to kick off on the 21st of September.
That's right.
In Ireland and the UK, we're hoping it's going to be, again, maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks after the US release date for Gotham. But hopefully, unlike last year, it will be a bit closer to the US release dates. So that will be awesome.
Yeah, it might be a week or two behind the US, but we have definitely got confirmation that Channel 5 will be showing Gotham in the UK again this year, much like they did last year, which was great. The show is going to be split into 2 parts in the US, which was one of the big challenges for a UK broadcaster showing it over here, because they wanted to keep all the episodes together. Whereas this time, because it's going to be shown in 2 individual parts with very, very small number of breaks, apparently, according to some reports that we've heard, it should run in one one sequential order in the UK and in the US, so that's really good, with a little break over the Christmas period, essentially.
Yeah, back-to-back episodes, with none of this a break here, a break there, and then back in for 2 episodes.
Here a break, there a break, everywhere a
break. Exactly. So, and of course, this year, the big theme is Rise of the Villains.
Mm-hmm.
So last year we had the Rise of the Penguin,
right.
And of course associated little baddies around the sides as well, in particular Edward Nygma, and that final great scene at the end of season 1 where he's beginning to have his schizophrenic attack.
Mm-hmm.
But we are definitely in for villains, and more villains, it would seem.
Yeah, we've been doing our countdown to season 2 coming up on Twitter, essentially putting up images each day of characters from season 1. Obviously, you can find that at Gotham TV Podcast on Twitter. Really good countdown, because it's actually refreshed a lot of my memories from the show all the way back to episode 1 of the series. But the amount of villains that were in season 1 seems to be probably doubling for season 2, it seems. There's a lot of new characters coming in for season 2.
Yeah, it looks certainly from some of the little clips that we've seen that Arkham will be a bit more active in this season, at least initially. Whether they will stay in and around Arkham, we don't know. But certainly we've seen a few recognisable people there in Arkham, playing out their punishment at the Institute, because they've gone, quite frankly, bananas. And of course, I suppose with that, it is about who's returning, who isn't, and who is new to Gotham of this season. And so, at least in terms of who's returning from season 1, we have seen Richard Sionis.
That's right.
And we have the
yeah.
Black Mask. We've seen Jerome, or is it the Joker? And of course, Jim Gordon's love of his previous life, Barbara Keene, who killed her parents, got mixed up with the ogre, and has obviously found a way to Arkham. So we're certainly seeing them back. Obviously, we kind of always thought Barbara would be back, but we see Jerome and we see Sionis.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it, to see Sionis back? I didn't actually expect him of all the characters. But yeah, Barbara finds her way to Arkham. Probably not the best idea to attack Leslie Tompkins in her home,
but it was a good, funny scene.
A good fun fight, really, wasn't it? But yeah, that'll definitely get you sent down to Arkham, definitely. But yeah, the Rise of the Villains, is, as John said, is the theme of the series, and it does seem like they're all ganging up together.
It certainly does. It looked like a slight breakout from Arkham as well, which I think will be second one in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
The Electrocutioner got a lot of Arkham inmates out, or at least caused chaos within the building in season 1. And now it would seem that in addition to these returning characters that we've seen in Arkham, there are a few new characters that seem to be wanting to cause a bit of chaos. And with that, it's James Frayne and Jessica Lucas, who play brother and sister, 2 siblings, Theo and Tabitha Galavan.
That's right, yeah. Tabitha Galavan is also known as Tigress in this series. And James Frayne's character of Theo Galavan, you may remember James Frayne from Agent Carter and from True Blood. He played a big part in there. In Agent Carter, he didn't have a voice. He wasn't able to speak, unfortunately.
He was the quiet man.
Yeah, but we've seen a couple of trailers with James Frayne as Theo Galavan, and he does seem to be this kind of rich industrialist coming into Gotham. Seems to be really commanding kind of presence, and getting all the villains together under his wing. What we have seen in Jessica Lucas is very cool, very sexy, whip in hand as her weapon of choice, essentially, and she does seem to be involved in this breakout of Arkham. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing these 2 characters.
Yeah, it seems if you're rich and loaded in Gotham, you're either on the side of good or you're on the side of bad. You have Bruce, obviously, but then the ogre was from a rich family and wanted to cause absolute chaos and, quite frankly, murder.
Exactly. Doesn't everybody?
But we have these 2, and then we also have in addition to those new characters, we've got a huge actor who played quite literally one of the hugest things in the comic book canon in Michael Chiklis, who was the Thing. And he's coming in to play a Captain Nathaniel Barnes. One of the interesting things on this for me is whether Captain Essen is around. Has something happened to her?
Yeah.
Is he replacing her? Is he working with her? Because Jim had a great relationship with Captain Essen, I thought, in season 1, and now we see Michael Chiklis as Captain Nathaniel Barnes. The promotional images of him really seem to be standing quite proud and up front, looking across the precinct with Harvey and Jim in the background. It looks like he's surveying everything that he is the manager of, his commands. So it'll be interesting to see quite what's happened in the GCPD as well, because a fair few things have happened. We unfortunately are not having the members of the MCU back in the form of detectives Crispus Allen and Rennie Montoya, which is a really sad thing for us. We would have loved to have seen them come back again as season regulars, but they're not. Yeah,
that's right. Unfortunately, that does mean we will be changing our intro for Gotham TV podcast from next week, so we will be retiring Victoria Cartagena and Andrew Stewart-Jones's intro, unfortunately. So thank them so much for the last 30-odd episodes of that intro. It's really nice of them to record that for us.
Yeah, really nice.
We will miss them. Hopefully, the writers, they haven't been killed off or anything, so hopefully the writers might think about bringing them back. But we do know they're not contracted for season 2 at all, so that is a bit of sad news.
That is, and fingers crossed for season 3 in my eyes. I'm always the optimist. I'd love to see them back. But Harvey is there, Jim is there, and it will be interesting to see how Enigma develops with his schizophrenic bad guy on his shoulder in terms of the Riddler or the Riddle Man. That's how right. He will develop within the precinct at the GCPD as well.
Yeah, definitely. I get the feeling that Captain Barnes has been brought in to kind of clean up the GCPD a bit. We did see that was the other big thing that we saw in the first season of Gotham was the amount of crooked cops that were there. So hopefully this is a character that's on Jim's side now. He's had a lot of battles with Commissioner Loeb, obviously, for his attitude, had a lot of battles with other members of the GCPD throughout, all the way through, really, season 1. So hopefully we'll see some more people backing him and more people on his side, including Captain Barnes.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to see how Jim interacts with Captain Barnes. I really want to see how him and Harvey Bullock's partnership carries on and goes. Is this gonna, it kind of ended on a high after having a lot of suspicion at the start. Is this gonna kind of descend back into a bit of turmoil for the two, or will it continue on a good solid footing? I really want to see how Jim deals with Barbara being locked up behind prison. It was his fiance, previous love of his life, and that hopefully has got some resonance there with him in season 2, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. And indeed, just quickly going back to seeing Jerome and Sionis in Arkham, I'd love to see the development of Jerome. He was brought in great fanfare. Is he the Joker? Isn't he? There was that laugh, there was that ginger hair, there was that kind of very pale complexion. Will he continue to be just Jerome, a crazy Jerome that feeds into what we think the Joker should be, or will he turn out to be the Joker? And will we get to see another Red Hood? Remember, the Red Hood was picked up. Right. This would hopefully feed into that mythology of the Joker's origins as well. So really looking forward to seeing how all those kind of develop. And indeed, obviously, Robin Lord Taylor, as one of the big breakout stars of season 1, will be back as Oswald Cobblepot. I really can't wait to see him and how he deals with being the King of Gotham.
Oh, definitely. We're definitely seeing some major differences between season 1 and season 2, and the fact that we've lost most of the mob bosses that we had in season 1. We've lost Maroney, we've lost Falcone, and we did lose Fish Mooney at the end of season 1. As Butch Gilzean shot her, and then the Penguin essentially took over Gotham by throwing her over the balcony and took on the role of King of Gotham. So I'm really interested to see, will Butch be working with him? Will Victor Zsasz be working with him as well in season 2? Be quite interesting. What's going to happen with Victor Zsasz since he wasn't able to save his boss from all the attacks? Will he stay in Gotham and will he work with the other team essentially? So.
I mean, that's the thing. I think the villains that we'll see in season 2 will have a slightly more destructive edge to them. Falcone, Maroni were, in effect, businessmen trying to keep the balance and to make sure that the operations of fraud, of money laundering, drug running, trafficking, all those ran smoothly in cahoots with the other pillar, the law and order. And that kind of relationship there that was kind of proposed in season 1. This season, my understanding from what I've seen so far is that our villains will come a few knives and forks short of a full picnic basket. We will start to travel down the more disturbing, more unhinged members that we kind of caught a glimpse of with Jerome, with even Oswald, that we start to move down this more chaotic road of villainy and criminals.
Yeah, and definitely with Nigma. I loved that final scene. I think I've watched that episode a couple of times now since it finished, because it's been on Netflix, the full season. So I've watched the final episode a couple of times. I love that scene, that final scene of the transition, I suppose, or the Riddler talking to Nigma. I think it's fantastic, and I believe we're going to get a bit of that next season. One other bit of news to talk about before we go into the rest of the new cast that have joined. One of the pieces that we have been hearing is that there is going to be a bit of a change to season 2, where all of the episodes are going to be very much more closely connected in season 2 than they were in season 1. One of the elements that we did talk about, particularly early on in the season, was when there were standalone episodes that we kind of wanted them to feed more into the next episodes. We did see arcs towards the end, like the Scarecrow arc and like the Ogre arc in the show, where they stretched across 2, 3, 4 episodes. And that seems to be the tone they're going for the second season, which I, for one, am delighted about.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the fact that they know that they've got 22 episodes this season, last season it started off with 13 episodes scheduled, then it moved to 16, and then they got an additional order for a full 22 episode season for season 1.
That's right.
And of course, I suppose that uncertainty is always going to make things difficult for people writing. Yeah. Whereas this season, from the start, it has been 22 episode season 2. The writers can and will have now the knowledge that they can write arcs for a full 22 episodes if they want to. For 11 of those 22 episodes, for 5, for 18, whatever it may be, they can allow that storyline, those characters to breathe and to really give them some time to gestate, ferment, and really pack a punch in relation to the legend and the myth and canon of these characters from Gotham. So really looking forward to see how they deal with it. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So on to some of the other characters that are joining for the season. We've got Natalia Allen Lind, who's joining as Silver St. Cloud. So this is over the other side of the House of Gotham. This is going to be a bit of a love interest for our young Bruce Wayne. There is still that little bit between himself and Cameron Beacon-Dova, Selena Kyle. So there's definitely a connection between those two characters. But we understand that there is going to be some connection with Playboy Bruce Wayne in this season, and that will take the form of Silver St. Cloud, a young woman and a new Gothamite, which I think is going to be quite fun to play with. Yeah,
but that will be a really interesting thing to see because, again, we finished season 1 with the fireplace pulling back to expose a dark and dangerous-looking corridor down through the fireplace with Alfred and Bruce sort of jaws to the floor as they see this hidden passageway.
Yeah, like most of the audience, really, who all think that it is the Batcave.
Yeah, so it's really going to be interesting what happens there. I can't wait to see Bruce and Alfred's relationship develop. I really want to see Alfred more. I mean, I just loved Alfred from the first season.
Oh, absolutely, and it was great to speak to when we spoke to Sean Pertwee.
Absolutely, really good interview. Brings so much to the role, and it'll be great to see another contemporary of Bruce in the show, to see him play about with that, because other than Cameron Beacon Dover, it was primarily adults that he had to deal with, and so this will be really nice, I think. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays.
Yeah. A couple more. We've got Leo Fitzpatrick, who you'll definitely know from The Wire. He's joining the show as Joe Pike. On The Wire, he played Bub's best friend.
Yeah.
So he was the quite drug-addled guy that was always hanging around in the streets, pretty homeless guy, I suppose you'd say. Looking forward to seeing him on there. He also was in the movie Kids with Rosario Dawson when he was about 17, 18. Really good actor, and he's been around for many, many years. You'll definitely recognise the face. He's playing, as I said, Joe Pike, one half of the Pike brothers, who seem to be quite instrumental in the creation of another one of the villains that's coming for season 2.
Yes.
One of your favourites, John. Firefly is coming to Gotham season 2.
Yes. Firefly will be played by a female character, and it's going to be played by Michelle Viantamilla.
That's it, yeah.
So really interesting. There was great, in Gotham Central, there was a great little story with Firefly, and that's how I first kind of got to know the character. Obviously in the Gotham Arkham Knight game. So really interesting character to bring, and I like that they're making it a female character. It should be really interesting. A bit of slash and burn, I think, happening in Gotham. Be good to see how this character is brought into play, and of course how Joe Pike interacts to create Firefly. So it'd be really interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. Loads of stuff going on. Loads of stuff we know so far, but with a 22 episode season, this could all be taking place over the first 2 or 3 episodes, really. We don't know how much of this stuff is taking place later on in the season, so really, really exciting. They've also released some of the names of some of the first couple of episodes as we go in. So let's just go through them, John, and see if they give us any details of things we could look forward to. So the first episode, the return of Gotham, is called Damned If You Do. So that's essentially the kickoff of season 2. It's not giving us a huge amount of information. Not going to read out the premise for the first episode, just in case there are too many spoilers in there. But in the second episode, we have Knock Knock. The third episode is The Last Laugh, which we believe will be involving Jerome.
Yeah.
Pretty obviously. The fourth episode, we've got Strike Force. So I wonder if there's going to be a big attack on Arkham there, maybe by the GCPD.
Absolutely.
And the final episode that has a name so far is actually episode 6. Episode 5 isn't named yet, but episode 6 is called By Fire. So that actually could be where we will see Firefly.
Yeah. So hold on to your hats and water cannons for episode 6. That should be a really good one. I'm looking forward to that character coming on board, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And that episode's directed by TJ Scott, who directed some of my favourite episodes, or our favourite episodes from season 1. And that's the episode that the Gotham Addicts did get to go and see the making of. So.
Yeah, so that's absolutely brilliant that some of our friends, Gotham Addicts, were lucky enough and honoured enough to go and visit the set of Gotham whilst they were filming, and that was the 6th episode with By Fire. And we were lucky enough to speak with Candice from Gotham Addicts about their visit to the set of Gotham.
Yep, and here it comes up now. Okay, Gothamites, welcome back. You have heard myself and John talk about our thoughts on Season 2, but we are joined by a guest. Candice from Gotham Addicts is joining us, who was recently on a set visit to Gotham, so she's here to tell us her thoughts. Welcome, Candice.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here and to talk to you guys again. We had such a great conversation last time, and I'm looking forward to this one again.
Absolutely. Some of our long-term listeners might recognise Candice. She was on episode 11 of the podcast when we talked about Gotham Addicts before the show began, so a couple of months beforehand.
Yeah, it's been over a year. I can't believe how fast it's gone by.
Absolutely. It's been a big year for Gothematics as well. You're up to, what, 9,000 followers on
9,000
Twitter?
the other day we hit on Twitter. So that's
Fantastic.
very exciting. I was, just hoping to get to 9,000 I was hoping actually to get to 8,000 by the season, and then we hit 9,000. So
That's
hopefully we'll hit
fantastic.
10,000 soon, and that'll be fantastic. Yeah,
Absolutely.
really
Great community
exciting.
of people out there.
Yeah, it's a great community. We're trying to, blend a bunch of the communities. There's, each of the characters typically has their own fan base. So we just encompass all of it, all the amazing artists, like everything. So we're inclusive of all.
Yep, and really good community. We've been a part of that community since probably June of last year, I think, when you guys started up. So delighted to be part of the community.
We love having you too. It's fantastic. It's a great fan base and very very respectful community of people, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And a ton of admins now and taking care of
Yeah,
the site for you.
yeah. We've got trivia. We do trivia on Thursdays. We're gonna do live tweeting. Depending on how many people are interested, we might do some watch parties, like live watch parties with the group. And of
Excellent.
course, all the segments we like to do. And just right now, we're doing a countdown using some of the Gotham art that people have submitted to us. We had some great fun trying to create a new logo, tons of submissions, and got everybody involved in choosing our new logo for our profile pic, and I just love it. It's just fun.
That was fantastic. Some great artists out there in the Gotham world. So many people inspired by the characters and by the overall scenes as well from season one. So really enjoyable. Make sure you follow Gothematics. I will mention it now. Make sure you follow them on Twitter at Gothematics and also on the Facebook page where there's lots of conversation going on.
And
Just
Instagram.
search Gothematics. And of course, Instagram. Never forget Instagram.
Never forget Instagram. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, Candace, you actually got to go to New York a couple of weeks ago for some filming on Gotham, so we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you want to kind of set us up for it? You flew down to New York for a couple of days, was it?
So yeah, I was honored and delighted and blessed enough to be allowed to go to the Gotham set for a couple of days and to watch it all. So I flew from Toronto to New York. It was quite a long day. I took a very early flight out of Toronto, and I don't know. I know you guys have been to New York, so getting into New York sometimes it's not that easy. And it was straight from the Toronto to the airport to New York, and then trying to get to my place and change really fast and get down to the city as fast as I could. So that I was trying to get there so I could spend as much of the day there as I could. And as it turns out, I spent about 14 hours that day on set. So
Wow.
I just
Wow.
didn't want to leave. I didn't want to miss a single moment of it. And
Absolutely.
it was incredible. It was great. So I went to the studios, and it's very, very high security trying to get in there because they really, don't let too many people on that set. It's a very closed set. And
Absolutely.
so you have to go in, and you walk into the studio where where the studios are, and there's multiple studios. It's a big huge building, and I remember sitting in the lobby and I was just freaking out. It was going to be so exciting to walk onto the set, and you have to wait for people to come and escort you, and it's really really tight security. And so that was like the first impression.
Excellent. You mentioned there that there's quite a large set. What particular sets are within the building that you were in?
Studio has they're big huge rooms, and it's kind of incredible the way that they've got all of the sets built because they're actual big huge rooms within this big
Hmm.
studio. The Wayne Manor set, they have Tompkins' house, her apartment. They have the
Uh huh.
GCPD, the Gotham Police Department,
Excellent.
and they have some new ones that you're not privy to
Okay.
yet that are spectacular.
Excellent. Well, just for our listeners to point this out, we're obviously not going to talk spoilers of the episode that you were
Correct.
down for. But I understand we can say it was episode 6, which was On Fire, directed by TJ Scott, one of our favorite
Absolutely. He's
directors
a
for
rock star
Gotham.
director. Nicest guy in the world. Brilliant director and very, very respected on set.
Excellent. Yeah, yeah. He's done some great work in season 1. So did you? So where did you start out? Which set did you start
Well,
out
I
working on,
can't
or
say
can
that
you say?
one. But I was told that it was top secret and there was like no pictures allowed. Nothing. So yeah, I can't talk about that one, but it was pretty amazing to see it in real life, and they're just so fabulous there. They just were so welcoming. The cast was like, "Oh my God, it's Gotham Addicts!" They were just. It was really amazing, and TJ was there, and I got to meet the writer. And of course, I had been on set before just for a couple of hours when I was in the premiere. Uh, yeah, at the
Oh,
premiere
that's
in
right.
New
Yeah.
York before. So it was nice to see Chris Noor, who's the director of photography. Brilliant, brilliant guy.
Hmm.
And they set me up, and then TJ gave me his chair, and it said director on it because all the chairs have their names on it, right? Yeah. So it's
Fab.
like, every single character has his own chair and the writer has their own chair and the director. So I was honored to sit in the director's chair all day long. And it's really amazing.
Fantastic.
The director sits right behind the director of photography and right beside the writer
Hmm.
and the script
Oh, wow,
supervisor.
excellent.
So it's this little sort of group of the behind the scene runners, because it's really in the filming process. It's the writer, the director of photography, and the script supervisor who are really running the show.
Hmm.
And then over to the side, you have all the cast who are going to be in that shot or that scene, and then the rest of the crew that's just running around crazy, just busy, busy, busy. So, it was wonderful. They're very, very welcoming cast, a very welcoming crew. I got to meet the assistant director, who is TJ Scott's brother for this episode. Yeah,
Oh,
his
really?
name's Mark, and he was TJ Scott's brother, or he is TJ Scott's brother, and he was assistant directing on this episode. And the writer was Rebecca Cutter, who's fabulous. And we
Hmm.
also had the script supervisor, Simone. She's the one that is the attention to detail person.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
what happens is these four people together make all the decisions on every single piece of what's going on. So there's the actor, and then you've got the director who directs them on how to
Hmm.
perform. The director of photography is the one who sets up every single shot and sets up the positioning of the cameras and the lighting and the background, like it's all his eye that's looking at everything. And then of course the writer has written the
Right.
episode, so it has to satisfy her. And the script supervisor is the person who makes sure that all the lines are set exactly correctly, that they have that there's uh, consistency. If they turn one way one time, they have to
Hmm.
turn the same way on the next take. If their right arm's in the
Of course.
pocket, the
Yeah.
right arm has to stay in the pocket. So, between the four sort of people, they, really direct how the whole scene goes.
Right, and it's really good that they have the writers on set. It's quite unusual actually in a lot of Hollywood productions or a lot of TV production that they have the writer on set. It's usually a really good sign for the show.
It's really amazing because, sometimes, the writer has a vision and she writes the words and the actors, perform the words. Sometimes they change a word or two, and, and sometimes it sounds better, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it, goes within the writer's wishes and it falls within the realm. But there's always a discussion. Like if it was done by accident, sometimes they just maybe forget a word and they change a word, or they flow and it was something different. And so,
Right,
the
right.
script supervisor will say, okay, well, this is what they were supposed to say. And then the director and the writer really discuss, do you like it? Or cut, go back and do it again. Or sometimes, the writer will be like, I like that better than what I wrote. So
Excellent.
it really is a collaborative effort between the director and the writer at that point. And the writer, gets to veto or approve, everything, because was her episode.
Excellent.
So
That's really good. Then they get to take responsibility for the episode and are able to kind of keep a bit of control there. That's brilliant. One of the things I have seen from some of the set photographs that have been released is that the kind of detail that's on set that you don't necessarily see on TV. Can you give us a little bit of background on the GCPD
absolutely
itself?
can give you some background on the GCPD. I've got a few photos that I'm not releasing yet,
Okay.
because it's very they're very strict on what can be released from the set and stuff like that. But I
Of
walked into
course.
that room and was completely in awe. That room is spectacular. There's no other word besides spectacular.
Yeah.
And the more you look around it and the more time you spend in it, the more you recognize how incredibly incredible the set directors are, the set decorators are, and the set designers are, because
Hmm.
every single thing in that room is something that would be in the GCPD, whether it's a piece of paper on the
Right.
table, whether it's a piece of paper in a glass case on the wall, whether it's a business card, everything is real.
Right.
Like on Bullock's desk, there's a business card
Hmm.
taped to Bullock's desk, and it's his wife's business card. It says Alice, I think it's Allison Bullock. And yeah, like
Oh,
every single
wow.
thing, every single file folder is actually stamped with Gotham PD. All the boxes are filled in. You know, all the boxes with files, they're like filled in with the files and the names. It's incredible. The
Absolutely.
it's
Sounds amazing
amazing
detail.
detail. Photos on the wall, the coffee station. Yeah, even down to the ornaments that they would have on their desk is all them.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's everything they would have on their desk. It's incredible. That scene was the
That's very cool.
GCPD is like that, and I got to go into Bruce Manor too, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Tell us about Wayne Manor. Yeah, that
Wayne
looks like
Manor
an
is
amazing place.
gorgeous. The room is gorgeous. These rooms are complete full rooms, like so. There's four walls on them, and you walk into it, and it's just
Hmm.
like you're in the Wayne Manor living room, obviously, and even the
Wow.
detail. Like they have on one of the walls, they have a bookshelf, and it's on there's a ladder that slides around the bookshelf, like the old European
Oh, yeah.
libraries. And no,
Yeah, I don't have one of those, though, just because I'm
but
European.
the ladder like actually moves. Yeah, I mean
Really?
it's real, and it's a real couch and it's a real table, and all the knickknacks on the tables and on the walls and the paintings and the fireplace, and it's all real and it's all
Excellent.
spectacular.
So I can see why you wanted to spend the full 14 hours there anyway.
Yeah, and then I was like, I'm coming back in another day, but I can't stop, just being excited to be there.
Oh, absolutely. After spending the amount of about 22 episodes watching it on TV, I'm sure it's an amazing experience to be in those
Yeah,
locations
it's
yourself.
when you walk into GCPD and you just stand in that room. I've got a picture that I really want to show you guys soon, and it's me standing inside
Hmm.
GCPD, and it's awe-inspiring. It's a huge room, and we got to run around, and I went up to the top behind the clock and up the stairs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
also the lieutenant's office is off of the main part of the room. So I got to go and sit,
Right.
behind the lieutenant's office and look out into
In with
GCPD.
Sarah, and with Sarah Essen would be sitting, yeah?
Right, exactly.
Excellent.
Exactly. And just look right out into GCPD. It was just spectacular.
Ah, it's fab.
It
That's
really
fab.
is.
I'd say you were quoting lines in your head the whole time you were there.
Yeah, yeah. And then TJ locked me and Cameron in the jail.
Excellent.
So that was fun for a while.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So while you were on set then, Candice, who of the cast were there while you were there?
Well, I don't think I can really say
Okay.
who was there. But I can say that there's a lot of new great cast members, let's call them, whether they're villains or heroes, I
All
don't
right.
know.
Okay.
I'm guessing probably a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
There's some incredible new sets that belong to some of these new characters,
Mm-hmm.
and I really think there's one new set that is is uh, is somewhere where Penguin will be,
Okay.
and it's unbelievable.
All right.
That's all I can really say. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's really, really unbelievable.
I'm really looking forward to seeing them now, I must say. We're only a couple of weeks out now.
Actually, I'm just thinking about it in my head real fast. I know that there's like 4 brand new sets that you've never seen
Oh, right.
that
Wow.
are as spectacular as GCPD and Wayne Manor. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Really looking forward to seeing it now.
Yeah,
I
you're
must
gonna
say.
be thrilled, and they put in as much attention to detail as those other 2 rooms too. So
Brilliant. We'll be taking the magnifying glasses out to fill up our podcast with all the details we can find in there.
you'll be able to find tons.
Excellent. So, Candice, do you want to give us some kind of background on how they filmed the episode overall?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a great learning experience for me. I'm just a viewer like everybody else, and I really haven't been exposed to the way that the whole thing is crafted together, and it's quite amazing. They have it's like a really well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
They have what they call a call sheet, and the call sheet basically puts everything on paper of what's happening, whether it be what time the cast has to be ready, what time they get picked up, what time lunch is, what kind of shots they're doing, what are they doing read-throughs for the next day, and how what props they need, what vehicles they're going to need, what do they have to what's the art department going to who's going to be there from the art department, the property department, hair, makeup,
Wow.
wardrobe, everything. It's all listed with who's got to be where, when, and what time. It also lays out sort of the outlines of the scenes, and it's so organized. It's incredible. So the actors have to be picked up at a certain time, then they have so much time for hair and makeup, and then the setup, they set up the scene, the lights, the set decoration. Like, I mean, the sets change. I'm not sure if you know this, but some of the sets are used for 3 different things.
Right.
So, for instance, Tompkins' apartment changes to Penguin's bathroom, changes to Cobblepot's apartment.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, so depending on who they're filming, where, and what, they have different things to make up the scene.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's hair and makeup on set, but they also get ready prior to that. They have, obviously Penguin has huge makeup and
Yeah.
a lot more time in makeup than, somebody like Harvey Bullock,
Yeah.
who's, still has time in makeup, but not quite so much time, and it's just a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, it sounds like it works really like a stage play, with moving sets in and out and doing different setups like that. That sounds really interesting.
And then, when they start to film, they film the same scene so many different times because they film it close up, and then they film it farther away, and then they reverse film it.
Right.
So they film it from the different angle. So you have the front and the back of, like let's say you have a character that's walking into a room, right? So you have to show them walking into the room from the front. Then you have to then you have to film a close up of them walking into the room.
Yeah.
And then you have to film them from the outside walking into the room. And then you have to film, there's a person in the room, so then they walk in and they're talking to a person. And then you have to flip it around and film that person from the front and that person from the back.
Aye. It must be so difficult to get all the shots to match up as well. Really, a really big process.
And that's what happens with the script supervisor, is really good at making sure that everything matches every single take, right?
Yeah.
So that when they decide to edit it and put it all together, that they can take whichever angle they want.
Yeah.
Because that's what the editor does, is he just decides which angle they're going to take and which shot they're going to use, and is it going to be a close-up, and is it going to be a faraway shot, and is it going to be looking at this person or looking at the back of this person?
Yeah, very interesting.
Yes, that's really cool. And then of course we all have earphones on, right? So you can hear the actors speak, because when they're filming, you're not typically in the same room with them. You're outside the room, watching through the monitors, right? Because they're all in closed rooms. So only the actors are in there with the cameras, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's ding ding, there's like the bell and quiet, it's like quiet on the set type of thing. And like And then TJ just yelled action like it's real. And then everyone just has to stop, and you're scared to breathe, and you're scared to move or to do anything because you don't want to wreck it.
Of course, yeah. You definitely don't want to be the blame.
And then they have people like on the doors, like on the outside doors, even though it's like, really far away, they just do everything to, maintain the integrity. And so it's just like everybody just stops and they film the scene, and then the bell goes off, which means that, when he yells cut, and then you're allowed to move and breathe again. God, can you imagine being the one that screwed up a scene because you like
Oh,
moved and smashed the door or something?
oh, absolutely. That'd be the worst nightmare, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the other thing that is completely memorable about the visit was the food. Craft services on the set was insane. It was just crazy. So I got there, and it was, I got there about, I guess it must have been 10 a.m.
Hmm.
And by the time I landed and got to the set the first day, and you walk in, and there's like all kinds of, just the cereals and the bananas and the fruits and the coffees and the teas, like all the sort of the brunch, the breakfast kind of stuff. And then, I wasn't there very long, and then they brought out salads and hot dogs and chicken fingers. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I had something to eat because I hadn't eaten yet from this
Yeah.
morning. So I'm like, that was really great. And then they filmed some more. And then they're like, okay, let's go to lunch. And I was like, wait, what? Wasn't that
That
a
was
hot
just
dog?
brunch.
Yeah, that was just like a snack. Like the hot dog and the chicken fingers was lunch. They're like, no. So then we went down this huge hall to this fantastic dining area that had, I mean, everything: fish and roast beef and all kinds of salads and just a full on buffet of as incredible as you can imagine it.
Yeah, I can imagine with the amount of people that are on set as well and having to work those kind of hours, as
Yeah,
well.
probably. Yeah, there's probably 100. I don't know. I don't know how many people there are. Maybe 100.
Right, right.
So then you go back to work, and then an hour later they had like a smoothie break, like not a break, like they don't actually break,
Yeah.
but they had a smoothie, so you can run and get a smoothie, and they were making them all fresh and all with berries and everything, and then they bring you dinner.
See, that's how you keep a well-oiled machine moving. You just keep feeding them.
You just keep feeding them,
Right.
and they just kept bringing them, like all the meals except for lunch are literally brought to the set.
Wow.
And
Wow.
fantastic. The food was just great. I'm like, how are you guys not like 100,000 pounds? I mean, this is crazy.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Sounds like a brilliant day, really,
it
for you,
was a
Candace.
it was a brilliant day. It was just wonderful. It was
Yeah.
really, really wonderful. I just felt so welcomed on the set, and that everybody was so gracious and so supportive of the addicts, and
Mm-hmm.
and grateful that and thankful, and just really happy to be there. I mean, it's just it's an incredible environment, from the lighting guys to the guy who has to polish off the table so that the reflection is perfect in the shot, to the
Yeah.
person making the lights lighter or darker, or I mean, it's everybody, and everyone is such an important part of the show. It's it's just a different perspective. I mean, we only see actors,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know and so you think that that's all the show, but the work that's done behind the scenes, I just have an incredibly huge, just more appreciation,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for all that goes into doing doing what they do.
Yeah, and I suppose it does probably help after having one season behind them. They've kind of seen the fan reaction and we've all seen how well produced the show is and how well put together the show is, and I'm sure they really want to keep that level up as well.
Well, they do it, and they don't scrimp on anything. Like everyone is a consummate professional. If
Hmm.
it's not about perfection. It's about what's great. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's kind of a difference, right? And they do what's great, whether it's the actor, whether it's the lighting has to be right, whether um, you know, TJ thinks something could be done better.
Hmm.
The writer wants to change a word. The script supervisor wants to keep the consistency. That didn't, that changes, because one word can change the dynamic of a whole scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't really understand that until, you see it happen,
Mm-hmm.
and because it just can really change the dynamic of everything.
Yeah, it can just change the whole intention of how everything's coming across. Yeah.
Exactly. And so they have to be, that's why the writer on set, you want to maintain the intention that they had when they wrote the story.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's also the effects, let's call them.
Okay.
There's some pretty, I don't know how to describe it without describing it, but there's some, well, it's on fire. That's
Well,
the
yes,
episode,
exactly.
the name of the episode, right?
A warm day in New York, I would
Yeah,
say.
so it's a really warm day, but there's, some pretty fun, let's say special effects.
Okay.
Or intense actions in the episode. So that was really fun trying to see how they take something and how they make that into a special effect and all the different ways that they shoot it, and then what they have to add to it to make it the image, and what they don't have to add.
Right, and what's done practically, like
What's done practically, correct? So what's really in front of you versus what's not in front of you. So that was really exciting too.
So yeah, it sounds like you had a fantastic experience, Candice, and that's absolutely what any fan would want. I'm sure you're going to be releasing some of those photographs as that particular episode airs, and if anybody wants to find those, where can they find you?
They can find me on Gotham Addicts on Twitter, Gotham Addicts on IG, and Gotham Addicts on Facebook. We'd love to have more members in our Facebook group, and we love doing segments about the shows and the cast and the everything. So, it's always a fun time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially on Twitter.
Yeah, we've loved it. We've absolutely loved it. And again,
live tweeting the episodes.
Oh, absolutely.
Every night, join us. And some fun things up our sleeve. I can't reveal quite yet.
Excellent. Looking forward to it, Candice, and thank you so much for joining us. Really, really good to have you again.
Thank you. Thanks, Derek.
We will speak again soon, I'm sure.
I hope so.
Thank you to the Gotham Addicts for chatting to us about their set visits to New York for Gotham and meeting TJ Scott and seeing the behind-the-scenes workings of the TV show Gotham. That was really nice.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy it like we did.
Yeah, really, really good.
One of the things we want to just mention again is the New York Comic Con panel that will be screening on Sunday the 11th of October at 1:30 p.m. on the Sunday, and we will be lucky enough again to be at New York Comic Con this year, and hopefully we will be getting into this panel screening so we can report back to all the Gothamites who listen on the panel screening.
We're going to be queuing hard to get tickets for that one, I'd say, this year.
Absolutely.
New York Comic Con is really becoming known as the home for Gotham. Really, of all the Comic Cons, they've been there last year and this year. This time we're going to have a number of different members of the cast, but we will definitely have Ben McKenzie and Robin Lord Taylor, who were at last year's panel, and we were lucky enough to meet them actually last year. We'll also get the two new characters, James Frain and Jessica Lucas will both be appearing there, and this year Corey Michael Smith will be joining them at the panel. So he didn't actually appear last year, but I think as his character built up over the course of season one, he's now become definitely a fan favourite and definitely one of our favourites. So looking forward to seeing him. And then the final member that's going to be joining them is also the executive producer, John Stevens, one of the other heads of Gotham. So really looking forward to that. Should be a really fun panel.
Yeah, so at New York Comic Con on the Sunday, there will be both the panel and a screening of Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
Which episode at this moment we don't know, but it probably be the screening of the episode that will be up for the following Monday on the 12th of October, I suspect. So that'll be really, really exciting, and we can't wait to attend New York Comic Con again and the Gotham panel. We will be around New York Comic Con. If you're there, tweet at us. We certainly want to try and get some kind of meetup going at New York Comic Con for Gotham this year. A few drinks after one of the days, maybe the Saturday or Sunday. We'll come back with more details on that in our next episode.
Yeah, can't wait to get over to New York again. Love the city, loved New York Comic Con, and there's tons of other stuff going on, not just Gotham. We are big TV fans, as we said, so there is going to be a screening of Supergirl, which is the new show from Warner Brothers that I'm really looking forward to. There's going to be Lucifer, which is coming out January next year, I believe. It's kind of a mid-season show, so we're going to hopefully get to see that a couple of months in advance of the release, which is really interesting.
Yeah, there's a big, for our Defenders TV podcast as well, there will be a big Marvel event looking at Jessica Jones and obviously Daredevil Season 2 and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter Season 2 as well. So there's a big Marvel presence along with a big Warner Brother DC presence.
And one final one that I know you're really excited about, John, is the screening of The X-Files.
Oh,
season 6 or season 11 or season 15?
I can't remember. I'm just excited to see Mulder and Scully back on screen. I love Gillian Anderson in Hannibal. I remember and loved her from the X-Files back in the day, growing up in school, seeing the X-Files, loved it. All I can say is I can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see the Marvel stuff, and I can't wait to see Gotham.
Oh, absolutely, definitely.
I think with that, we'd like to say thank you so much for listening. Remember, you can check out our podcast on iTunes at gothamtvpodcast.com/iTunes. Again, on any other good podcast catcher, Stitcher, Player FM, Podcast Addicts, Beyond Pod, just search Gotham TV Podcast. Any thoughts, views, opinions about this season 2 before it kicks off, please send them in at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com. And then as the season begins to ramp up, send in your thoughts of the episodes, of the season so far, any theories that you may have as to what's going to happen, what they're going to find down the Batcave, what they might find in Arkham, how Babs is she going to stay nutty, is she going to get rehabilitated, all this kind of stuff. So send in your feedback. So again, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, and next time that we come back is our 50th podcast, John.
It is.
Yeah, we've been podcasting 50 episodes of Gotham so far.
Wow.
And guess what? A little surprise for you.
What?
We have a surprise guest coming to join us next week. Yes. Looking forward to having that discussion.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we hope you do too. This is really nice of this character to an actor to I've given something away. For giving their time to speak to us about their character from season 1 and moving into season 2. One of our favourite characters of the show. Really good arc. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, can't wait to share that with you guys in our 50th episode, which will be in a week's time.
That's right. And just make sure you subscribe to the podcast in iTunes, Stitcher, Beyond Pod, etc. Make sure you leave us a review if you can, so that other people can find our episodes. And so if you subscribe to it there, you'll be able to pick up the episode when it comes out on the 21st of September. So you'll get it just before you watch the first episode of Season 2 in the US. We'll obviously be releasing our episode reviews of Season 2 as it airs in the UK, just like we did last year, but hopefully not too far behind. And you'll have a bit of a fun interview, I promise, to keep you going while you're waiting for us to come back.
And we'll obviously be getting some sneaky looks in on Gotham, both for the Monday, the 12th release at New York Comic Con, but also probably on Hulu as well whilst we're in New York. Really excited about it. If Channel 5 in the UK hasn't yet aired the first release episode of Gotham in the UK and Ireland.
That's right, yeah, really looking forward to that. Getting a little bit of a sneak preview ahead of our normal UK schedule. Should be great fun. And again, thank you so much for listening, and thanks for joining us. As always, this show wouldn't be anything without its listeners, so make sure you send in your feedback to us, join our various groups, and keep in contact with us. We'll be back really soon.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.
Gotham TV Podcast, do not cross Alan and Montoya.